This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the best in MTRA monster truck racing. From the Canfield Fairgrounds in Canfield, Ohio, it's the Canfield Monster Truck Thunder Drag. Talk about bad luck. Kirk Dabney, who made it to his first final of the year in our last show here in Canfield, went out and shelled a motor in qualifying. Talk about an expensive proposition for the privateer from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Dabney was done for the night. You can see the liquid pouring from that mount. And so he has to roll back and put it back up on the trailer, and he talked to Army Armstrong.
Boy, you really had it running, and up jumped the devil on you.
Well, part of racing's bad luck. It's a piece of equipment, and we had a connecting rod fail. We're not sure why. We'll have to go back to the shop and get her going again.
Take a look now at the top 5 qualifiers. Once again, Stinger was quick over his Bigfoot teammate. Then it was Barefoot, Rampage, and the Executioner.
You know, Dan Runte had his first loss of the season, and Gary had a chance to catch up with him a little bit earlier to talk about it.
The question had been, wow, can he go the entire season without losing a round? Now, going back and looking at that defeat to the Rampage, it looked like maybe he got the whole shot. He looked like he drilled you at the light.
Yeah, he did. You know, he come out a little harder than we did at the light. That was a little different track conditions. I mean, we were having problems hooking up on the line. We sat and spun. His truck actually left there. He's running a different transmission. The Ford worked good all day. I mean, it just came down to one of them deals where we didn't get the traction we needed off the line, and he pulled it out of there.
Right now, it would appear you have a big lead in the point standings, but just a couple of miscues on your behalf, and your teammate's going to be right there on your heels.
Yeah, Eric's a person you got to watch all the time, too. I mean, he's right there. He's knocking on your back door. As a matter of fact, he said to me at the last outing, if he could take it away from me, he wanted to be the one that would do it. You know, he didn't want to see somebody else take it away. He wanted it.
Well, you're going to race, you got to be hungry. And Paul Schaefer blew an engine in the last race in his Monster Patrol truck. So what does he do? He renames his team truck. Remember the super truck we were telling you about? Well, he renamed it. Gary found out why.
The other driver that drives this truck is Bill, and he wanted to drive it. And if I drove it, I was going to put the foot to the metal, and I might have blew his truck up too. So he's got a show Wednesday night, so I just stepped out of it.
Round 1 highlights now from Canfield. Bigfoot and the Monster Patrol. Now, in this event, Bigfoot would take the victory, but the Monster Patrol would come back as the fast loser. There's the 489 for Dan Runte. A new truck on the circuit appearing here in Canfield, D.O. Wilson in the Virginia Giant, and he has the unfortunate task of taking on Eric Meagher and the Stinger in round 1, and that victory would go to the Ford out of the Bigfoot stable with his 484, and Dio would go back to the trailer. Dan Patrick, who no doubt inspired the Monster Patrol situation, goes down to Mark Hall in the Executioner, but Patrick would make it back as the fast loser after this pairing. There's the 510 for Mark Hall. And Fred Schaefer, who went out in round 1 in the last race, advances to round 2 with a much easier draw this go-around. He has Tim Tesper and Hercules instead of Dan Runte, and he has the big victory there for the Barefoot Dodge at 524. Todd FROLIK, the only other winner on the PENDA Point Series this season, and he would take out Mike Botters in round 1. As Botters had some trouble right there at the light, and the Dodge Rampage takes the victory at a 551. And Alan PEZO would take on Pam Botters. A big wheel stand for Pam Botters in round 1 would cost her a chance to win against PEZO. Look at the wheel stand. Has to come out of the throttle, and Alan PEZO in the Predator takes the victory at 5.45. You take a look at this wheel stand by Pam Botters. Kind of reminds you of a big old grizzly bear stalking its prey. And look at the boogie van get up on the hind quarters. And at that point, she had to come out of the throttle. And that gave Alan PEZO the victory here in round 2 to advance him to the second round of competition. As we take a look now at those drivers that have advanced to round 2 and the 3 for the second round of competition. You see the Stinger going against Monster Patrol, the Executioner and Barefoot, Predator and Rampage, and Bigfoot and SAMSON. It's all coming your way as we come back to Trucks and Tractor Power from Canfield, Ohio. Welcome back to the Canfield Fairgrounds here in northeastern Ohio for the Monster Truck Thunder Drags. Gary Lee and Army Armstrong. We take a look at Eric Meagher in the WCW Stinger, and he will line up against Bill Hazlitt in the Monster Patrol.
Hazlitt's a new kid on the block, Gary. First time we've had a chance to see him has been here at Canfield. I'm kind of impressed with him. He's driving Paul Schaefer's number 2 truck. Speaking of number 2 truck, I don't know if you call this a number 2 truck or not. It's the second team truck out of Bob Chandler's operation, driven by Eric Meagher. And Chandler, as you well know, is the guy that started this whole sport 20 years ago.
Well, if it's a team truck and a second truck, a lot of guys like to have that second truck in that stable. Ready for the launch. And this should be Meagher off the line. In fact, he does because of equipment and experience. Hassel, as you say, new to the course.
That's quick time of the night, a 4:79, Gary. That's awesome.
So once again, you take a look in the near lane. The Stinger gets the good jump at the light.
And he stays smooth. Look, everything settles down. Now he's making horsepower on all 4 wheels, goes to the next jump, flies to the finish line. You can't ask for a better run. The guy is almost clock-like.
Well, he takes the victory, and he's down with Army.
You know, you're doing such a good job driving. Everybody knows if they don't get you on the starting line, that they're not going to be able to handle you.
That's right. This truck's really coming out hard. Real tribute to the guys back in the pits here. They're making the changes. They're really coming around. The changes we're making seem to be working, and hopefully we'll make our sponsors proud tonight and put ourselves in the winner's circle.
Next pairing, we'll have the big red Dodge Barefoot of Fred Schaefer, and he will stage alongside Mark Hall in the Executioner. There's a look at Fred from Pontoon Beach, Illinois, longtime drag racer before he turned to monster truck competition. There's Mark Hall out of Champaign, Illinois.
Hall, definitely one of the young up-and-comers in the sport, working his way round by round.
Mark Hall runs him tough, and it's Fred Schaefer by ever so small of margin. Fred Schaefer in the Dodge Barefoot Hemi takes the victory at a 5.07.
Margin of victory is always 1.
Well, you take a look at the Dodge coming right at you. He got the whole shot, but I tell you, Mark Hall ran him tough.
Oh, he did. Schaefer knew it. I guarantee you, he knew Hall was sitting off his hip on the right side. But like I say, the margin of victory is always 1. 1 inch, 1 foot, 1/1000th, and only 1 goes to the next round.
And here's a guy who would like to go to the next round. This is Alan PEZO in the Predator, another privateer who's made some great strides in the past few outings. And before the competition, I had a chance to talk to Alan PEZO. Alan, we're seeing improvement every time down the track. So what do you attribute to the faster times?
Well, as you know, in Bloomsburg, I had lots of problems with suspension. So I went home after Bloomsburg and done a little bit of homework and figured out what I needed to do. We built this new truck last fall, and we've been struggling with suspension problems. And we had cantilevers to give it the extra wheel travel that when we needed to come out here and race on this PENDA series. And it was nothing but a bunch of problems for us. So we went back to a simple setup, mounted the shock straight up and down again, and it's a setup that I knew how to make work, and that's why you see the truck going faster out here.
They call it KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, and you'll go faster every time.
KISS?
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. And just go back to the basics, and it'll work for you every time.
There is Todd, who won the last outing here in Canfield by really upsetting the Runte Bigfoot operation. And he is going to get the measure, or is he? No, who won that thing?
Boy, you got one with the nose-up attitude, one at the nose-down Predator,
gets it.
5.37.
5.39, Alan PEZO by the smallest of margins. And watch again, it looked like the Dodge had the victory.
But again, the attitude of the truck at the finish line, was he nosing over or was he up in the air? The Dodges have a tendency to be nose up at this point. Meanwhile, the Predator was diving at the finish line.
Oh, what a great run for Alan PEZO. Every run, as we say, continues to improve. And this was a good victory for Alan PEZO. Look again, the Dodge had the hole shot.
Also, again, I'm going to go back to what I was saying. Look where the nose is on the Dodge at the finish line compared to the nose of PEZO. PEZO was diving at that line.
And PEZO made up a lot of ground in no man's land.
One up,
and
one
he
down.
takes the victory, and this is the margin of victory right there. Let's go down and visit with PEZO.
5:37. I tell you what, you're gaining a lot of respect from these factory guys here today, and that'll really get their attention when you do that to them.
I definitely appreciate that, Army. We're out here trying our best, and this is the first weekend that we've been doing really good. We've been struggling all along, and I'm just so excited that I can make a real good pass down this track.
Coming up next, there is SAMSON. That is the old Dungeon of Doom truck. It's been leased for the weekend by Dan Patrick, and he'll be staging alongside a former teammate, Bigfoot and Dan Runte.
Bigfoot and the Tooth Fairy in this round, if you will.
Well, there's a look at Dan Runte out of St. Louis, Missouri. He won everything to the last outing when he got knocked out by the Dodge of FROLIK, and there is Dan Patrick. And Patrick has built a lot of these trucks.
Yeah, exactly. Patrick in the Rent Racer in the far lane. We called him the Tooth Fairy. And then Runte, if this kid had been born 100 years ago, he'd been a gunslinger. He's that cool.
Well, he's going to take this victory without working up a sweat. But as we're watching this action, there may be a problem back in the pit area. Let's go back and check in with Army.
Fred SHAFER and his crew are trying to steal horsepower from this big Chrysler Hemi engine. What they're doing, they're making a gear change. You can see it right now in the gearbox. They're making a change actually to put a different ratio on it to literally steal the horsepower from it, to keep it from doing a wheelie. The wheelie seems to be the kiss of death for these big Mopar motors. Back to you, Gary.
Well, Army, that's what caused Rampage to lose earlier. We've got the semis coming up. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Darrell Waltrip. Now, I want you to buckle up and hold on for TNN Salute to Motorsports. There's exciting specials with the legendary Marty Robbins, Winston Cup champ Jeff Gordon, and Mark Colley celebrity race. Plus, Cale Yarborough visits the Dukes, and of course, live racing with Butch Grand National, the NHRA season ender, and 2 vital Winston Cup races. It all begins this week with TNN Salute to Motorsports right here on the Nashville Network.
Welcome back to the Canfield Fairgrounds. Gary Lee along with Army Armstrong. And speaking of Army, let's go trackside and visit with Army.
Every time the Bigfoot team takes a win and comes back over, we do an interview with the driver. But while we're interviewing him, something happens. Bob Chandler runs over and takes some kind of a black box. Now, Bob, real quick, I'm going to grab you. You run over and take some kind of a box out of the truck while we're interviewing the driver. What are you doing here?
That box is measuring the pressures of the shock through its whole cycle of this race. We have a computer in the truck that's showing the cycles when it's running, and this shows pressures. Well, we're going to make some changes down the road on the truck.
Boy, it's tough to compete against the factory-backed teams when they have telemetry like that.
You're exactly right, and I just figured out why they're running, why those trucks handle so well. They can read all the shocks, and when you're dealing with shocks, look, you got 4 on the front, each one, 4 on the rear. You're dealing with 16 shock absorbers, Gary.
Well, there's a look at Fred SHAFER in the Dodge Barefoot entry, pulling alongside Eric Meagher in his Stinger Ford.
Can they keep the front end down? That's the question.
Well, they've added weight to the front. They've changed gears on the Barefoot Dodge. Let's see if anything works against Eric Meagher. Meagher late to stage in that near lane. But boom, who won that one?
Man, if we were playing hand grenades, somebody was close. I don't know who it was. A 483 for the Ford.
And a big wheel stand for the Dodge. Here it is again, coming right at you. The problem they've had all season long, they cannot keep the front end down to keep the horsepower hooked up on this Barefoot Dodge.
Man, they've done everything from adding dead weight to changing gear ratios. They're just making a ton of horsepower gear.
That has been his nemesis all season long. You can see the impact on the landing.
The strange thing, you go racing and you get beat because you're making too much horsepower. It just doesn't seem possible.
Well, they've tried several different measures like changing gears, adding weight to the front, but nothing seems to be working. And right at the very end, he was edged out by Eric Meagher.
Both trucks, nose over in the attitude, diving at the finish line.
There's Alan PEZO in the Predator, and PEZO will go up against Dan Runte in Bigfoot. So let's see if Bigfoot can get back in victory lane after getting dethroned the last outing here at Canfield.
You know, PEZO's been on a roll here, and Bob Chandler, you talk about a hands-on guy. You can say what you want to about this guy, but that's why his trucks stay on top, is he keeps him so involved in it. He checks the computer. He's checking temperature now. It's just amazing what you got to do, but that's why you stay number one. Whoa, Gary, a red light on the Bigfoot team.
Alan PEZO will take the victory, a DQ. What did we say earlier about Dan Runte never beating himself?
Wow. Well, hey, and you can't take anything away from PEZO. The red light tells it all. It doesn't lie, and it doesn't have any favorites. He just moved too quick. He knew that PEZO was coming in on him. He knew PEZO was going to cut a tree on him, so he did what he had to do.
And a big upset with the red light. Here's PEZO.
Song of the 60s said, dream a dream, it might come true. Son, it's final time, and you're there.
I love it. I seen that red light come on in his lane, and boy, oh boy, I had a smile from ear to ear, buddy.
Well, he doesn't smile a lot, but you can tell he's happy. But the guy that really put himself on the sideline is Dan Runte.
Good race, just cut a light quick. I mean, it happens to everybody now or then.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I went out there looking at next round, trying to lay down a good pass, you know, trying to get lane choice, and just left a little early. That's all I can say.
You got to race a race one lap at a time.
Yeah, that's just it, and I forgot that time. That was my fault, nobody else's.
After winning 8 straight events, he has lost in the last 2 semifinal rounds. Oh my, the champion somewhat depressed right now, as it's a tough situation for the entire team. And speaking of the team, Eric Meagher had a stinger problem. The battery exploded after the last run. They should have no problems getting a new battery back and be ready for the finals, which we'll have for you when we return to Canfield, Ohio, here on Trucks and Tractor Power.
Watch front, watch front. On the wire, I know.
We are ready for the finals in round 10 of the PENDA Points Championship. Alan PEZO against Eric Meagher. There is Meagher in the Stinger. That is a Ford against the General Motors Predator. You really can't tell what makes these vehicles are because of the fiberglass bodies.
No, but you can tell we're going to have a new winner tonight. Neither of these guys have gone into the winner's circle all year long. They've been close, but nobody's made it to the winner's circle out of these 2 camps, Gary. Well, Alan PEZO immediately goes into the lanes because his vehicle is hot. Now, there's a rule that says when one driver stages, the other driver has to go to the lanes. He can't burn him down, if you will. Meagher staged and then backed out of the lanes. PEZO's telling the flagman or the starter, get him on the starting line. I am not going to move. I am hot. I want to go racing.
A shot there of Ken Kohling, who is the crew chief for Eric Meagher. Finally, Eric staged the run itself, all Eric Meagher.
Yeah, but look at the Predator. Meagher takes the win. He was the first the other end, but I told you about the heat problem in that Predator camp. That's why they staged early. We're going to have to wait. The WCW crew, congratulations. They were first the other end, but I think they're going to get caught on a technicality here. Their driver did not stage when he was supposed to.
Well, he pulled in, then backed out.
Exactly, and that's when the Predator started pointing to the starter, telling him to get on the line. I'm hot. Don't burn me down. And that's why this rule is incorporated, and it's a good rule.
Right now, it appears that Eric Meagher has won here in Canfield, but we're still not getting the official word. In fact, it's still being discussed right now, and he walks over to sign some autographs. There's Alan PEZO. They shake hands. We'll come back and sort it out. Eric Meagher is very unhappy.
He said, I have 4. On the 4th one, you must.
Eric Meagher has been disqualified.
No,
you guys can dispute that call, but that's the way it's going to stand right here.
That's
Alan, rules are rules. We live and die by the rules. We just got word on a technicality. You are the winner of this event. You went up and staged. He rolled through the staging beam, so congratulations. You're the winner.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I was up there to stage, and I motioned to the starter that he rolled through them lights twice. I knew before we left that he had done that, and I was trying to motion to the starter to tell him that, you know, he is already out to begin with.
So you knew what the ruling was. You were just not going to move till that light went green.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You told me
Well, the discussion continues down in the pit area. Talk about the highs and lows. Meagher had yet to find victory lane all season. They had the trouble after the semis with the battery exploding. They changed the battery, appeared to have won, and then they get DQ'd.